Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dad Show. This video is going to be a little bit different than the ones that I normally up here, which are like edited stream highlights. Because this one is just something I wanted to do off the cuff about two games that I started with high gusto and then immediately dropped them because I immediately lost interest and I was super bored. And those two games are Skyward Sword and Final Fantasy 12. Those are two games that I started. I was really pumped to play. Skyward, let's start with Skyward Sword. So I was hyped to play Skyward Sword because I had just gotten the HD version on Switch, and it had a lot of quality of life improvements. One of my biggest gripes with the original Skyward Sword, one of my original gripes with Skyward Sword was the controls. I was not a fan of the motion controls. I hate motion controls. I don't think they have a place in a game like Zelda. I think it's too gimmicky, and revolving the core gameplay around it was extremely detrimental to the overall, not only accessibility, but the pacing. It's just not good. Skyward Sword is just not a good game, and you'll never be able to convince me otherwise. I have played both the Wii, the HD version, and in both times, if I can't get past the 2 hours, I'm not going to fucking play it. Like, I'm not going to continue to play it, and that only cements my opinion in my 2D Zelda tier list, which you guys should all go check out and watch. But yeah, like, I tried it. I tried to play it. I didn't have to complete it to know that it was a bad game, because it wasn't even a game I wanted to complete. It looks better. It runs smoother. Sure, the controls are nice. Playing on a controller feels a little bit better. Although I found some awkwardness to the conversion, I suppose. Like, just certain things, just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not an intuitive game with a controller, and the motion controls suck, and I give up on it, just because it's not fun. And if I'm not having fun, what's the point? Which brings us to our next game, which is Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac Gage. It was on Game Pass, and I had this idea to do something called Game Pass Dash, where I would try to play all the games that were leaving Xbox Game Pass, the ones I wanted to at least, before they had left the store. And Final Fantasy 12 was one of those games, and I was really, really excited to play it because I loved Final Fantasy 12 growing up. When it came out, I got it on PS2 because my mom asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I said Chrono Trigger on the DS. And that Christmas morning, I opened up a very long rectangular case that ended up being Final Fantasy 12 on PS2, which, kudos to my mom at the time. She tried her hardest. But so I was like, fuck, well, this is what I got. So I popped it in, I played it, and I was like, all right, this is hype. And I had just played World of Warcraft too. Like, I was like into World of Warcraft for a bit, and I liked the systems. I liked the MMO style at first. I was like, this is cool. And at the time, which would have been like my freshman or sophomore year in high school, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 12. I got very far. I'm positive I beat it. Did not complete it. I didn't get all the extra shit. I didn't even have access to internet to look it up. So I just played it, and I had a lot of fun. So it was one of those games that I had nostalgia for, and it was remastered with a lot of quality life improvements. So I was like, this is a win-win for me. And then I played it, and I'm like, wow, this really is a single-player MMO. And I know that I would have enjoyed the intricacies of the Gambit and auto battle system a lot more the further I got into the game. But I didn't want to get further into the game. I played my bit, and I was like, that was cool. We'll go back to it. And I never booted it up. Because I reflected, I was like, man, I didn't have too much fun doing that much. And even when I finally got an additional party member and I was doing combat, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I still think it's a fine game. I think that Skyward Sword is it's the worst Zelda game. It is straight up the worst Zelda game. Skyward Sword is the worst Zelda game. But I guess it's like playable, you know? Like, it's not a bad game. Like, it's a playable, fine game. It's just boring. It's fucking boring. And same thing with Final Fantasy 12. It's a fine game. Actually, Final Fantasy 12 is a much, much better game than Skyward Sword. But I did not have the cognitive capacity to continue playing through 12 as a single-player MMO and get really into those systems because I have too many games to play. And a single-player open-world adventure is not something feasible for me. One, because I don't have the time. Two, because I like playing other games. I like multiplayer games a lot. Open worlds are very committal. So yeah, that's why I stopped playing it. Not only did it leave Xbox Game Pass a long time ago, but during that time, that's why I had stopped playing. And even the games that are leaving Game Pass now, I'm like, I don't give a shit. So like that idea immediately got retired almost as soon as it came into existence. Not to say that it would ever come back again, because I still think the core concept of trying to complete, or beat rather, not complete, I don't give a shit about 100%ing, but beating games that are on Xbox Game Pass and are on the verge of leaving, giving yourself that little time crunch, like, yeah, let's fucking play it. It gives me an opportunity to play games that I probably would never play before, assuming I commit to doing all of the ones that are leaving. Yeah, it just broadens my scope, increases my library of games, and I like that. And speaking of open world nonsense that takes up too much time, Elden Ring, am I right? Who can't play that game? Anyway, that's the video. This one was pretty short. Again, just off the cuff, no script. I just wanted to talk about why I haven't played those two games despite such an initial strong start with them. They just did not keep me hooked because I probably have ADD. Anyway, that's the video. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think about Skyward Sword or Final Fantasy XII. I know there's some people in my circle who hate both of those things. So, curious to know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.